Welcome everybody to the next episode of the Sonat PC Podcast with Rob Adomus here on YouTube and www.sonatpcpodcast.com, the website. For all the new subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing and sharing all the videos, and of course always to my loyal followers. We've hit the 2-year mark here, and thank you so much for following along with the show and the growth of the show and sharing, of course, the videos, because it's always about you guys, the audience, not about me. I'm just the host here. So, interestingly, there's been a lot of stuff happening, really more in the States than in Canada, and what I wanted to do was really kind of talk about the elections that are coming up. And I say elections because obviously the focus of attention has been on the upcoming US election, the blatant rigging and upcoming rigging of the election by George Soros and the Democrats, who I call the Demon Rats, and the Canadian version of the Democrats is the Liberal Party. You haven't heard a whole lot recently about the Liberal Party, and of course our libtard media up here, which is paid for by George Soros and the Liberal Party. That's part of a diversionary tactic with all that's going on down in the US, especially obviously what Black Lives Matter and Antifa, among other violent, hate-oriented Marxist communist factions are doing down there in order to not only disrupt cities and all the great people with their businesses and their homes and such, and attacking them and murdering them, and having the media, of course, portray things as a peaceful protest. Yet when a young gentleman like Kyle Rittenhouse, as I mentioned in a previous episode, 17-year-old young man, who's sitting in jail for defending himself. Yet countries like Bulgaria and in Europe are filling entire stadiums saying, "Free Kyle Rittenhouse." Well, how awake are they? That they know exactly that this poor young man is being completely not allowed to have his rights, in this case of self-defense, when he was actually in Kenosha, Wisconsin, helping people. Well, we could go off on an anarchist, arsonist, violent type of subject rant in this particular episode, but that's not really the essence of what this episode is really all about. I wanted to touch upon the elections because not only do we have, of course, the upcoming US election, we have a snap election just called in the last week by John Horgan, the current premier of British Columbia, who in conjunction with the Green Party has been leading this province. And I use that term leading in a very humorous manner. This is a strategic ploy on behalf of the NDP and the Green. Interestingly enough, the Green Party has a new leader, Sonia Fruitino, I believe is how she pronounces her name. And so there's a little bit of change, upheaval going on, specifically with the Greens. But again, as I was just mentioning, this is a strategic ploy on behalf of John Horgan and the NDP in the middle of a fake pandemic. I've said it to people personally and in social media. The virus itself is not a hoax. It actually exists, but not to the magnitude that media wants to portray it to be, of course. But the pandemic, that word, that's a fake. This is not a pandemic. So, the pandemic is being used by Horgan as a tool to call the snap election so that less than a month from now, all of a sudden, an election for British Columbia that was scheduled for October of 2021 is now less than a month away. Okay? So there's really not much in the way of campaigning that can go on. I mean, if there are to be any debates, I mean, that's left up to whether that's going to happen or not. But anyway, interestingly, something that came to me yesterday, and a message of a different variety than the ones that I've received in the past. I was emailed and text about actually running for this provincial election. And I had made a mention over a year ago that this was something that had come to me, and something that I had never ever actually thought about doing. I've never had political aspirations, much like many of you out there. I've been quite jaded by the fact of what politics has become, and it's very unfortunate that this subject has become what it has become, but it's been thousands of years in the doing and making, so this is not an overnight thing. And in respect to the BC provincial election, I have not said yes and I have not said no to this request, but I have put it out there to social media in order to really find out the sentiment of the people if, by the grace of God, in such a short period of time that I should choose to actually run, what is the sentiment of people out there? Would I even really have a chance? My name is not known in political circles, but I think in a lot of ways that's a very good thing, because I am not a politician. I am a person like you, a person who has concerns, a person who believes things can be done much, much better in all respects, in all ways, so that we, the citizens of British Columbia in this case, Canada, the United States, we're supposed to be governing our provinces, our states, our countries. For us, government is only a body of people that is elected. But of course, in a lot of cases, we know a number of those people were not really elected, that they were rigged, by fake ballots and so on. You're hearing everything that's going on in the States about ballots, mail-in ballots, to the tune of millions of them showing up in ditches, all for President Trump. Well, in this case, the 2015 and 19 elections up in Canada, my research has shown, as many of other people have shown, was rigged in favor of the Liberal Party there by George Soros and his minions, his foundations, who do this for a living around the world, not just in Canada, not just in the US. So, is there something going to go on perhaps within the BC election along those lines? I can't really say. I don't have that information right now at hand in order to even allege something like that, so I won't go down that road. But knowing full well 2 years ago that my personal research found that the NDP was being funded by George Soros, there's that name again. You can't get rid of that name. He was not only funding the Liberal Party when Kathleen Wynne was in at that time, he was also funding the NDP as a backup plan against the Conservatives there and Doug Ford and the party. I reached out to Doug Ford and his campaign to let him know that this was happening through the Lead Now Foundation, through, of all places, out of Vancouver. So I told Doug about what was happening there, and I said still my research was finding that somehow he was going to win between 72 and 79 seats in Ontario, and lo and behold, they won 75. So right in the range that I said, which was a great thing personally to be able to put across. But this is the kind of thing that goes on around the world, everybody. And for those of us who follow truthful content, news and such, this is not new news in any way, but a reminder of the people who typically are involved in this in order to take a country which, again, should be governed by the people, which has always been supposed to be governed by the citizens of a country, and put into the hands of the few. And the only reason they have any power is the power that we personally give them. I do not personally give power to a government. Okay? In my view, a government needs to be cut back in scale. They are only to be looking after what was originally done in the United States as part of the Constitution, was to ensure the liberties and freedoms of the people and to print money. You and we can all see what government has turned out to be. And people get scared at the idea of taking on the government. Well, the government is not something to be feared. There's plenty of sayings out there that you can go to the internet about. So when people fear the government, that's tyranny. When government fears the people, that's liberty. Okay? You need to take that to heart. You need to take back wherever it is that you live. These are your provinces, your states, your countries. They belong to all of us. We have the ultimate say in everything that goes on. Not some sitting body of, quote, elected officials who are employed by us. We are the employers. I've said it before. I guess that's another one of those things I have to gently remind people of. So anyway, Andrew Wilkinson of the Liberal Party in British Columbia certainly wants to debate John Horgan. We'll see if that happens. Of course, as I said, the Green Party is going through a change in their leader and such. Really what this all comes down to, and I want to preface this in the fact that before I either do or don't go down this road to say yes or no, the Conservative Party in British Columbia has been rebuilding, certainly had a complete overhaul, and brought in a lot of really, really great people who have the right hearts, platform, and agenda that they personally would want to have in front of the people of British Columbia. Now again, words are just words. People know me by this. Words are just words. Your actions are everything. Everything that I do in my life is about the actions or the inactions that I take, as it would be with anybody. That's what you get known for. So words that I'm putting out here, or even words that I would put out in a public platform, whether, let's say, I was interviewed on a TV or radio interview, are just words based upon what I'm being asked in questions. Who I really am as a person is all about, in this case, should I choose to run for a seat in my riding, and I will reveal those details if I go down that road very, very soon, then if the people were to vote me in to get into become a member of the Legislative Assembly in Victoria, what I do there is all the importance. It has nothing to do with me being in front of a camera here. Nothing what I say in front of a microphone somewhere out in the public somewhere. People are known by their actions, and that's what I'm all about. I'm one of you. I've always been one of you. You know? So it's an interesting decision that's been thrust upon me with a quick decision that has to be made. And I'm working towards coming to a conclusion on that decision. So in this case, social media will become the main platform for sure because of the short timeline, in order to get messages out for people to know the fact that I am out there putting myself out front of this on behalf of you. And you know, should by the grace of God that I get voted in, I will do everything on a daily basis in order to ensure that everything that is first and foremost for the citizens of British Columbia is always taken into action in order to bring the positive results that are needed out of that. So that's my personal promise to all of you. To kind of talk about more of the magnanimous elections going on down in the US, it was interesting that this weekend, specifically yesterday, was the National Day of Prayer and Repentance down in the United States, which I did not know. And until I saw it on the internet and saw it on television. And that was a tremendous coming together of people. And aligns very much to who I am as a person and my belief system and such. Very much separated from the Democrat Party, who are more Luciferian Satan worshippers, and for the Liberal Party, especially in Ottawa, who don't believe in things like aligning themselves to Israel, among other things, that it's all about that inner circle of the globalist agenda. Well, that's nothing I'm a part of, nothing I would ever be a part of. I would be very much like President Trump, fighting against that 24/7. So call it putting myself in the crosshairs or something like that is not a problem on my behalf to do. In fact, I would enjoy the process regardless of probably becoming quite the target to those who don't like that attitude and those types of actions. So what happens in just a few weeks running up to the October 24th British Columbia provincial election? This is an election of a different magnitude. And I don't have all the details, of course, and as much as you don't have all the details. Where your votes can be cast, how they're going to be cast, and so on. Not having the opportunity to really see the candidates, and it would be very, very easy. And in the political system, oftentimes what people will tend to do as far as voting goes, they will vote for those just because they recognize a name. Well, I'm here to tell you, oh, and by the way, this isn't beer like Elizabeth Warren down in the States was trying to portray that she's 1024th Indian or something like that. This is cream soda, by the way, just so you know. I don't portray anything that I'm not. So I really don't know all of what is going to transpire with all of this in order to help you make a right decision, should you even choose to vote. Okay? Not always because you happen to know a name, and in this case in the political realm of John Horgan or Andrew Wilkinson or whoever has been in your particular riding for one term or maybe more terms than this. That doesn't mean they're doing their job. So there's no point, in my view, of voting for somebody who's not doing the job that they were set out to do on your behalf. Okay? They are your representative. They are your voice. Supposed to be. And in the political world, we often know that this doesn't come to be. These are people with their own personal agenda, along with a lot of times a party agenda. I'm going to let everybody know, because when I put this out on social media last night, and I have to say I'm so humbled by the amount of responses, not only in my area, but around North America. In the sentiment that people are bringing to me, their thoughts, their feelings, the vast, vast majority in support of me if I were to run. And what that says to me is that people are hungry for someone, more than one person, hopefully, but in this case, me, who has always had a heart for the people in everything that I have ever done and everything I ever do now, to go forth and be their voice. And I would only be their voice because of what they're bringing to me in this job. Remember, this is a job, a politician. And it's on behalf of all the people, in this case in your riding, but in this case for all the people of BC, to represent you in the way that you deserve. The decisions, pardon me, that need to be made are on your behalf, not mine, not the party's. If truth be told, I'm an independent pragmatist, much in the same way President Trump has been. But he had to choose one party over the other because of literally only a two-party ruling down in the States. So I can tell you, just in the person that I am, I've always walked to the beat of my own drummer. So if I disagree with someone within the party of my choosing because it is the best option currently to be involved with, because sitting as an independent, unfortunately, doesn't do you an awful lot of good. Okay? No support in any real way, shape, and form. So what must be done is you need to have the tools and resources available to you in order to get to the end means. And in this case, it's for the people of BC. So I could be sitting, in this case, within the Conservative Party, but Rob is a representative of the people of British Columbia, not of the Conservative Party. So people may look at that within the party and go, well, wow, you know, I mean, he's going to disagree with us on this or that. You got to toe the party line. No such thing. Towing the party line says you're being PC. You know the name of my show, So Not PC. For a reason. I don't believe in lying. Oh, that's a political thing, isn't it? Well, again, I'm not a politician. I'm Rob, a person. I believe in honesty. I believe in integrity. I have morals and values. I have a care and love as a person, as I believe everyone should have. But we know not everybody is like that. But as a representative of you, that's all that's important, is to ensure that your message, your feelings, your wants and desires are taken care of. Because you're the ones, like I am, I pay my taxes, to have these people sit in Victoria. If they're not representing you, they're not representing me, gone. So, we can make this a discussion all day long, but I know you'll tune out, fall asleep, and I'll have cured your insomnia, which is probably not a bad thing in most cases. I'm just going to leave you with all of this. Again, I have a big decision to make very quickly, whether it's a yes or whether it's a no in moving forward with this. And if it's a yes, I certainly hope when I reveal the area that I live in and the riding that I will represent, that all of you would not only vote for me if you're in that area, and if you're not, to help promote with people you know in that area. And I am always open to questions, as I was today, to have people on social media contact me, and I was more than happy to answer every question that they had. Because it's a representation of not the party. So please don't get caught up in a party. Be caught up in the individuals who have the right heart for you, who have the right agenda for you. That's what politics should be about. And the only way to exact change in the political environment is to vote in people who represent you properly. Otherwise, those people should never get in, never have the opportunity to do anything except benefit themselves. It's never been a part of me, and anybody who knows me knows I don't represent that kind of ideology ever. So thank you always. And if you haven't hit like and subscribed yet to the So Not PC podcast here on YouTube and www.sonotpcpodcast.com, the website, please do share the videos. I thank you always for tuning in and sharing. And like always, God be with you and your family in all things. Good night.